you haven't felt the effects of AI at this point, well, congratulations. You've probably been living under a rock and haven't touched a computer in a while. Joking aside, I'm really excited to be joined by Andrew Hobbs today, who's going to talk to me a little bit about the commercialization of AI in the channel. It's a white paper that his team's been working on, and I think it's going to have some great insights for us. So, Andrew, thanks so much for joining me here.
It's a pleasure as always, Caleb.
So this white paper that you've been working on, sponsored by OpenText, as is this video. Can you just give me a little bit of background? What's the research that's kind of fueling these insights that we have?
Sure. So I drew on a piece of research by iPad Consulting, the channel company's consulting arm, as a very in-depth study into AI investment and monetization in the channel. So yeah, great to be able to draw on that comprehensive piece of research, focusing not just on what's happening in the AI space, but the business implications for the channel, which I think everybody wants to hear more about.
Reading through the paper, it seemed like there are kind of two things that have been happening, right? You have the enterprise side, which has been, diving into AI for probably over the last decade, right? But you also have the SMB side of it as well, which has been a little bit more cautious to implement some of these things. But that might change soon. Can you talk to me a little bit about the factors that are driving that change?
Sure. So it's partly about attitudes to risk. So AI space, or at least recent innovations, is relatively new. So there's a bit of uncertainty and a bit of an education need there. And it's also about what money they have to invest. Those larger partners that serve larger enterprises, there's certainly more of an appetite for adoption there. And that's based on the maturity in the market. Some areas have more opportunities currently. Some will, start to evolve down the line. Jensen Huang, NVIDIA CEO, talks about this quite neatly. They've obviously done extremely well out of this current new wave in AI. They're very much at the left of that AI maturity spectrum, involved in AI infrastructure, large language model training. That's where there's obviously a lot of huge opportunity at the moment for both for investors and in terms of the return. But we'll see that evolve. He talks about 4 waves of AI adoption. So that's the first wave. The second wave is where we'll see more adoption in the enterprise space. So things like AI adoption that help with productivity, automation of those more rote day-to-day tasks, data analytics, things like that. The third wave is more around specific industry use cases in things like manufacturing, healthcare, and so on. And then finally, that fourth wave, we'll see greater adoption at government level. They're currently very much in the regulatory stages at the moment. So in terms of channel opportunity, we're just emerging into that second stage, really. So they're working with clients, particularly larger enterprises, to figure out strategies for adopting AI. Where can they see the most immediate returns for their investment?
A big challenge for implementing AI and honestly technology in general is the nuance of all the different industries, whether it's compliance, whether it's hardware requirements. How are we potentially going to see AI deployed across all these different industries and adopted?
In terms of what the research tells us, there's particular interest amongst MSPs for managing their client workloads. There's certainly opportunities in areas like cybersecurity and cloud. They're probably top 2 at the moment. There's, in cybersecurity, a lot of opportunity to automate those kind of automated defense and response capabilities that you can't necessarily have 24-hour protection without spending a lot of money on headcount, and those skills are in rare supply at the moment. So AI is an obvious candidate there. And yeah, in terms of adoption challenges, you mentioned there, cybersecurity again crops up. Obviously, if you're uploading your data to a public cloud environment to use a tool, there's potential risk of data exposure there. So whenever you're implementing AI tools, either within a channel organization or for a client, that's definitely a top of mind, I would say. What's the risk profile there in using that tool, and is that compliant with regulations, and are those risks outweighed by any potential benefits?
There's still some pretty significant barriers to implementing AI. Anything else that you want to talk about, insights in that area for our audience?
I think just the pace of change is another key concern when it comes to investment. There's always a fear that you lay down 6 figures, 7 figures on a solution, or in maybe even an infrastructure rollout, but purely because of the pace of change, 6 months, 12 months down the line, they may then be outdated or replaced by a better, more affordable innovation. So certainly a lot in the channel. Smaller channel partners in particular are taking more of a wait and see approach. They don't want to be at that leading edge or potentially even that bleeding edge. So they're seeing how that market unfolds. Obviously, that comes with its own risk. There's a risk of being left behind. So definitely the message for them is disrupt or be disrupted. So yeah, that's a dangerous game as well, I would suggest.
Disrupt or be disrupted. I love that. I know anecdotally, my own usage of AI has increased a lot over the last year, which is exciting, seeing new efficiencies, optimizations. So, and I'm sure many others have well. Is there any other insights that you want to give as we wrap up here from the research and the white paper in general?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a binary decision. I don't think you need to be all in on AI or taking a wait and see approach. So I think the best course probably is to think about those kind of second wave adoptions within the enterprise space, those lower hanging fruit, as it were, around automation, productivity, data analytics, investing there both internally and helping your clients to understand that, to build a strategy around that. So having that short term view, but then also that longer term view, those third waves and beyond, developing education and thought leadership around that, and also your client strategies there. So you definitely need both that short term and that long term view, I would suggest.
Excellent. I think the messaging over the last year has been pretty consistent, right? A lot of investment happening to set us up for future success. But I think now, in the short term, there are some pretty great wins that you can have on the smaller end potentially as we move towards maybe this bigger revolution that we keep talking about. So, Andrew, thank you so much for joining me here today. It's been a pleasure talking to you about AI and about this research you have.
Likewise.
And thank you at home for watching. Please make sure that you're checking out our AI in Action newsroom for more AI coverage. And also don't forget to check out the open text white paper that Andrew and his team have been working so hard on. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you next time.